Hey YouTube, Valence here with another video for you guys covering the Ghost Recon Future Soldier Beta. Now, many of you guys have asked for an in-depth look at weapon customization, kind of talking about how I build my weapons and what I do with them. And today I'd like to bring you that video, and more if you so wish, if you enjoy this one. And we're going to look at the ACR. If you guys have watched many of my montages and many of my gameplay clips, you know the ACR is one of my most popular weapons. I'm in love with the gun, especially in my rifleman class. And today we're going to take an in-depth look at how I build my ACR and where I built it from based on its statistics. So I've stripped the gun down, no parts, no paint, nothing. This is basically the stock gun as you would receive it when you first go into the game. So no worries, I'm not teasing you around anymore. So we're actually going to take this gun into the firing range and see how it handles. You can already see it has a high control and high range, which is really good in a rifle, and most American guns do have that. So we're going to test it out in the range here. For those of you who don't know what the firing range is, it actually allows you to test out any gun, whether you own it or not, with specific attachments before you buy those attachments. So you can see if it makes it more effective or it makes it the way you want it. So, looking down the ADS, or the aim down sights, you can see that the ACR is actually fairly accurate, especially when fired in burst mode, but you do notice that it will skip to the upper right hand corner. Now this is the one problem that I had with the ACR when I first started. If you'd hold down the trigger in automatic fire, or even some burst fire, you'd have a couple bullets straying up to the upper right of the head. You can see with the targets, almost all of them are hitting some of the upper right points. Even at a little further range, it's still the same thing. Obviously, though, the ACR is much more effective than the Russian counterpart from when you enter the game, which is the AK-200. Because the AK-200 is less focused on control and more focused on stopping power. But I do have a build to counter that as well, so if you guys are interested in that, let me know. I'd be happy to do a video on it. So you can see the ACR is fairly accurate already. We're just testing it out here so I can show you guys how it handles basically. Now, keep in mind I'm not moving or anything, I'm just in the firing range. But it is a very good gun to start with compared to the Russians' AK-200. So, after we walk through the firing range here, the goal is to tell you how I customize my weapon and why I customize it the way I do. So now let's begin. Now, you can see it is stock, as I previously stated, and the ACR is one of my favorite weapons. And you have all these different pieces and parts, which I've talked about in previous videos. The trigger, the underbarrel, the magazine, and everything. I'd like to first talk about the trigger. Now, it starts with the full auto trigger. My personal favorite is the mock trigger. Now, you can go semi-auto or 3-round burst, or you can keep the full auto. But what the mock trigger does is basically increases the trigger sensitivity, which allows for quicker follow-up shots and faster shots off the bat. Especially in burst fire, this is a very, very handy tool to have. Now, I just like it because of that. Next, I'm actually going to walk into the stock, which I feel is really the second most important part of the entire gun. Now, you come preset with an extended stock. You can also go folded, as you see me highlight here, but it only increases maneuverability. So I prefer fixed. Why? Because fixed increases control by reducing the amount of recoil felt. This will decrease the recoil on that gun and also decrease that upper right-hand subset recoil that we saw when we were in the firing range. Next, we're going to go into the optics. Now, the optics are really kind of choice and choose. It's really whatever you guys want on your rifle. I'm a big ACOG fan. I do enjoy the ACOGs. However, for the purpose of this video, I've really started to focus on quicker and closer combat. So I went with the magnified HWS because it's a holographic sight. It's the perfect blend, basically, between an ACOG and a red dot. So next, you're going to go to the magazine. Now, the magazine is fairly self-explanatory. You have standard mag, you have AP mag, which you don't unlock until 36, and then you have the drum mag. Now, a lot of people go drum mag, but I disagree because this basically turns the gun into a light machine gun, and you're going to be almost encouraged to spray instead of actually aim and go for those headshots and those accuracy shots. So I discourage the drum magazine. What I actually encourage you to use is the dual magazines from the get-go until you get the armor-piercing rounds. This doesn't reduce your maneuverability or anything and allows you to quickly reload. So it's a very, very good choice. Next, we're going to go with the rail cover. Now, most people go with some underbarrel attachment here, as you see me scrolling through. Even bipods, or the bipod grip. The bipod grip is actually very popular because it increases maneuverability and control. However, keep in mind that this will only work when the bipod grip is deployed, which means you're going to have to be at a standstill. Now, this is why I prefer the other foregrips to the bipod grip. There's the angled foregrip and the vertical foregrip. Now, with these two foregrips, the important thing is recoil. And notice the vertical foregrip doesn't have that. So, I prefer the angular foregrip because it does knock down that recoil, and that recoil is the only thing that's messing up the ACR, as you guys could see in the firing range. So we went with the angled foregrip, and that's how I build that. And next, we're going to tear into the gas system. Now, the gas system, we only have 3 choices. There's a standard, which is a good rate of fire and good control, and you notice I'm around 915 RPM with automatic fire. However, I prefer the gassed because it does increase control, meaning less recoil. Notice that I do drop about 100 RPM, but the undergassed, obviously the control is more beneficial if the ACR puts out significant stopping power, which it does. So I prefer undergassed, but you know, it's up to you guys. Next, we're going to talk about the side rail. There's 3 attachments we have. You can get the basic rail cover, you can get the aiming laser, or you can get the heartbeat sensor. A lot of people go heartbeat, but I prefer the aiming laser because it increases control again. You see we're around 80% for that increased control, which is what we're going for with this build. This is how I like my guns to be. Very control focused and very easy to maneuver and shoot. Now, for the final piece, we're actually going to look at the muzzle and the barrel. Now, you have the standard. You can also do the compensator or the silencer. Now, I prefer the compensator because it does increase recoil without reducing power. Now, there is a build I have with my AK which actually I can equip a suppressor and bump back up that range without a problem, so you don't really feel that negate, but we'll talk about that in a different video. Finally, this is getting close to the end of the build here, and finally we're going to go into the barrel. I prefer the standard barrel because it keeps my range and it keeps my maneuverability at about where I want. We're at about 90% control right now, and that is the final product of my ACR. You can see me spinning it around here to show you how it all works. Remember, this is built for control, and now I'm going to click through some paint here. Obviously, there's plenty of paints. I mean, you could go on forever, and this is just in the beta, keep in mind. But I'm a multicam guy myself. It's what I use for airsoft, so it's what I really stick to for my virtual guns as well as my real guns. And that is my ACR build, guys. So I hope this is giving you a little more insight into it. Now we're actually going to take the ACR build of mine into the firing range and shoot it off to show you the results that I've put together after building this rifle. It took me a couple hours, but I finally got it perfect. So we'll start with the 10-meter range again. You can see the gun looks great. The aiming laser does help. But see, the recoil is much more reduced. You only have about 2-3 bullets in a clip that are negating where you're aiming. That's without aiming down the sights. With aiming down the sights, you see I am hitting him in the head almost every time. Notice how it still does bump up to the upper right-hand corner, but it's severely negated in the sense that you have much more control over your gun due to that angular foregrip, that under gas system. And you see if you're burst firing the rifle too, having that under gas system really doesn't decrease the rate of fire too much. It bumps up the accuracy, which allows more of your bullets to hit the target, which is great when you are using an assault rifle. So that is what I plan to do with this gun. Now, I'm going to keep shooting this around a little bit, and I'm going to go ahead and end my commentary here. But basically, this is an ACR build that took me a couple hours to put together. I put a lot of work into, and you can tell it definitely improved. But this is kind of the idea with the gunsmith system. You can take a gun stock and you can turn it into something your own. Now, I've seen people build ACR builds which can be single-shot sniper rifles with bipods. I've seen people do ACR builds which are built for close combat stealth. It really depends on your build of weapon. Now, for example, with the ACR, you see I really focus on control, but with my Russian weapon, I focus on damage and stealth. So that, you know, just shows how I play differently. And even, you know, out here, you see me, I'll go into the longer distances at 90 meters, and I'm prone. Look how accurate this rifle is. Now, given it doesn't do as much damage as a sniper rifle, however, it's still pretty accurate at these distances, and that's what counts. So guys, I hope this has given you a little insight into how weapon customization works even further. I've done a video on it before, but this is my specific ACR build in the beta, and one that I frankly would not go without when the real game comes with. This is definitely a build that I am excited to share with you guys. If you're curious about more weapon builds, feel free to post a comment on this video, whether you want the AK or a sniper rifle or something like that. I have plenty of weapon builds to share. And stay tuned for more videos on Ghost Recon. The beta does end next week. So, you know, we're kind of going to be stuck with it, which sucks, you know, but the game does come out May 22nd, so be sure to pre-order it and get all your stuff set for May 22nd. Stay tuned for more Ghost Recon videos, like I previously stated, and if you haven't already watched some of my gameplay and commentary, you can see some of the weapons I'm showcasing here in action. My pistol, you know, yes, you can customize your secondary weapons, but it's not too significant. You see me just popping off a few shots here and there. So thank you guys for watching. If you do enjoy my commentary, please like and subscribe. I really appreciate it. Basically, anything you do helps me out a ton. And be sure to check out my other videos. If you like my stuff, also feel free to recommend it to a friend or spread it around to websites you know or communities you know. I'm really just here to be your average gamer, talking about your average stuff and giving you some commentary. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next time. I'm a Valence, and this has been one of my Ghost Recon videos. Bye, guys.